Welcome. This episode I'm so excited about because Cacao is a part of it. We are so excited for you to join us and for Mama Cacao to join us. This is going to be an episode laced with one of my most favorite tools in grounding myself in my heart, sharing with my friends and my community. And I think we're definitely going to start off with a sip.
I think we should.
Right?
I've been tempted.
The cups
Since
are poured.
It was poured. Thank you for bringing this
You're welcome.
to me and to everyone who is listening. This might be an opportunity, if you are able to in the moment, grab something that would be cozy and nourishing to sip on during this episode. This is going to be an interactive episode where we will be guided with Christina into, kind of like a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to be in a cacao ceremony.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to join us. So you can hit pause and go grab something if you'd like.
Yeah, get something warm.
Get something warm. And I'm going to
It's
pick
nice.
this up in this beautiful cup. And
So with cacao, thank you, that was beautiful. I think with cacao, one of the most important things is we honor it because it is a food, but it is a medicine. And one of the most beautiful things cacao has taught me is ritual. So this is in respect to cacao. And even when I make this at home, which I make every single day, prayer is always a part of it, even if it's just like, help me, and then I drink it. So Renee and I have very full cups, but we will just drop into a little bit of a prayer space. So if you have something warm, you can maybe put it up by your heart. You might close your eyes, take a deep breath. Start to tune into what is in your hands. For us, it's this warm, beautiful, velvety chocolate. We welcome the spirit that works through cacao. We refer to her as Mama Cacao, but see her as you choose to. It always feels actually like a grandmother energy to me. So we just welcome that spirit in. She comes in, holds us where we're at, calms our nervous system, stimulates our blood, helps us get more information to our brain, and works as a psychoactive, not a psychedelic. So a psychoactive is just showing that our brain is working at a higher speed. But you are in control always. So we welcome Mama Cacao. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to every hand that went behind making these cups of cacao possible. Thank you for the blessing. May it nourish our bodies. And Renee, if you want to take a second to just anchor into a word or an intention or something that you are calling in, the listeners want to do that too. And once you have an anchor point, maybe it's just more love today, more gratitude, more abundance. I like to blow it into my cup like I'm cooling it off. And that is a really important act of surrender, letting go of the timeline, giving it to a greater spirit. And when you're ready, we'll take our first sip. Just taking a deep breath around that first sip. If you have cacao at home, I hope you do. And I love to just milk that first sip and let it move through the body, move through the heart. And we'll take one more sip in this sacred space together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can open your eyes, come back. She good.
always, when you prepare it, I feel the love in it. It's not the same when I do it at home. I don't know. I've tried.
we need some private lessons.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, it's an art, and
Yeah.
I've made cauldrons of this at this point. So
You are well practiced.
I've put my reps in. So thank you though. I've been going to the cacao gym and I haven't missed a day.
No, this is like the perfect little cup too. I feel so like cozy holding it. And
Rose quartz cup. We're
Yeah.
very love branded right
yes,
now.
Yes. It's like this episode's like from the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm so glad you were open to wanting to share this because we've been, I'm curious to hear because I told you I forgot when your first experience with cacao was. But before you tell us, I just wanted to say I thought it was such a game changer when I brought cacao into our community here in this town. Now, I share cacao all over the world. Whenever I travel, I hold a circle or I do a training. Just did one in London last week, and it was, these women were like, what is cacao? What are these feelings? I mean, they were just not used to being in a sacred circle and being given permission to speak like that and be vulnerable. And cacao is a vulnerability medicine. It kind of holds you, and it's like, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like, I got you.
Yes.
So the impact cacao has made on our community, from what I've seen, has just been like, I can't imagine it before.
Right. And how long ago was it that you first started?
5 years ago was
5
when I
years ago.
first trained. And then I worked with cacao, just me and her, doing my training and her really working on my heart in a big way.
Yeah.
And then about after a year of that, also getting me off of coffee, I was like a fiend.
Were you?
True story.
Okay.
Like 4 or 5 lattes a day, like hardcore. Americana, I'll take it black, like double espresso, let's go. So like jacked. And you know me as a person, I'm already like so high energy. Yeah. I'm sweating thinking about that version of me. So Mama Cacao had a lot of work to do on me. And as a woman as well, that my power actually is in my femininity, and I had to decondition around the masculine. You know, I think I really revered the masculine, and I, instead of just like saying, cool, you're there, let's bring that into the equation, I'm like, oh, I can do that too. I want to do that. Like,
right.
That's really cool. And coffee helped me like fake that.
Fuel that, yes.
And fuel it.
yes.
And I say fake because it wasn't sustainable, because my skin was affected, my body was affected, my relationships, my ability to hold space for clients. I mean, I would give like these like just wham bam sessions of like, here's everything you need to know crammed in an hour. And I could see now on the other side of it, I could see clients were like, oh, there's so much, I'm overwhelmed. And I'm like, yeah, you'll get there though, you know, like, whereas now we may discuss 1 or 2 things in their chart, and I can see the person that is in front of me is getting nourished by that.
Yeah.
So cacao has helped me in those ways. And now when we share in circle and community here, you've seen it, you've been a part of our circles. They're so beautiful. Like the age range of people that gather, men and women gather, and we share cacao, and then something shifts in the room. I've just seen it so many times. I refuse to believe magic isn't real. I get to see it all the time.
Yeah. And people, I would love to know, like, it would be interesting if people were to answer, like, how did you find out about this? Or how did you get here? Like, did someone bring you, or did you just because I know there's so many stories of people kind of randomly coming into
Spontaneously.
Yes.
Yeah.
But are very much supposed to be there, of course.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
So when was your first time?
Okay. I was thinking about this because I did have other cacao experiences prior to meeting you.
Cool.
However, it was just, I don't have a recollection of anybody necessarily like guiding me with it.
Okay.
I just came across it maybe and thought, oh, I want to try that.
Yeah.
So I had purchased some online. It was good quality. But, and it was okay for me. But again, as I said, preparing it at home.
Yeah.
Not really understanding the intention, right?
So it's more of a taste thing. Like,
It was more of a taste
and how do I
thing.
feel?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of the very first
Yeah.
experience, was just sort of dabbling on my own. Kind of could take it or leave it. Didn't really like make an impact. However, I will say, like, having the opportunity to experience cacao in a group setting is a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And with somebody like you who obviously has such reverence for it and is
Yeah,
there to
deep love.
guide and hold space for people. And It is subtle. However, I do have a memory, and I want to say this was the first circle. It was a full moon circle. It was in the summer. It was
Oh.
warm out. I mean,
Nice.
we live near the ocean, you know,
And
full
that moon
moon
gets
over
big.
the ocean
Oof,
vibes.
magical.
I remember having such a blissful, I'll say, experience
Yeah.
that I went to the beach after just to be in the moonlight and just to like I wanted to really like
Yes.
soak and saturate into the energy of that night. It was very
Oh.
profound.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and
Those are the kind of experiences, though, where you're like, okay, this might be a one-off. Like, this might be one that is a once in a full moon,
Right.
blue moon. Because
Yeah.
that's a pretty magical experience.
It was pretty
Renee.
magical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I loved it so much. I mean, I literally was like so like I definitely felt heart open.
You get warm.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily feel that as a like distinct
Okay.
sensation. I think it's just it's kind of like a beautiful culmination of a few things happening. I feel
Yeah,
like
it is. And that's
but it's subtle.
the thing.
It's subtle, but it's lovely.
It
and
is.
it's, as you said, it's more feminine.
Yeah.
And for me, that's nice to tap into that because
Yeah.
I too have been at, my, at the mercy of my own ambition and drive and needing
Oh,
to push myself. And this is a nice, like, you feel like, and you alluded to this, I don't know if you necessarily said it, but it felt like being held, like
Yeah. Yeah.
bliss, little bliss bubble that
Yes.
holds you.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love that experience that you had.
Yeah.
I love getting to see and hear people's reflections from Circle, and because it's a living food, and the ceremonial grade is the part that keeps it alive. So it's not going under this extreme amount of
Right.
processing with machinery and heavy heat or high heat and heavy machinery rather. And so it's really its essence and its spirit and its nutrients are all intact when we get it and when we make it. So every experience I have with cacao is different. Now there is, just like with a person, like I know Renee, but I'll get a different version of Renee tomorrow. It just depends. Like same with me. So I have a similar relationship with cacao where I know I'll get her in a certain form, but there's always a different tone. And so that's why it's so powerful when you work with cacao to have an intention. Like, what are you asking for? And I taught this in my last circle about deciphering prayer. And do you understand how prayers are answered? I think a lot of people have this very childlike view of prayer. Me too, and I can go there, of God, spirit, source, cacao, whatever you want to say, give me strength. Give me strength, give me courage. And then that week, I get hit with 4 obstacles on different days where I'm required to summon more strength than I ever knew was in my body. And that is how a prayer is answered. And so as I was teaching this, I was seeing people's eyes light up and they're like, fuck. Like, that's why things have gotten hard. I've been asking to become a better version of myself. That's a big prayer in the spiritual community.
For sure.
Yeah, I just want to be my best self. It's like, you ready?
Yeah.
Buckle up, buttercup.
Yeah. It's coming for you.
So yeah, intention's great, but then also knowing how to decipher your prayer and how it's getting answered.
Yes. And do you feel like in the different versions of cacao that are meeting you, do you feel like it's meeting you where you're at in that moment? Or do you feel like there is a little bit of a like, hey, pay attention? Or is it all love and nurturing for you?
The tone is always like how I feel about my mother. Like even if my mom is extremely stressed about something, when I meet her and come to her, she has space for me. It nearly makes me emotional. That type of love is how I feel about working with a medicine like that. It just kind of holds you. Even if sometimes she's like, hey, you let me down. you said you were going to do this and you didn't. And like, I was counting on you. And so sometimes cacao like brings those things to my awareness, and I'm like, I didn't contact that person and they got upset with me. Or, and you're right. And she kind of will make me aware of things, so that I'm referring to a lot of things in a spiritual context, but there is science behind it.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, cacao stimulating the blood. It's really high in theobromine. It's the number one source to find theobromine, which translates to food of the gods, theobromine. So I also add food of the goddesses. Make it inclusive. But to theobromine, when we take it in, also yerba mate is, green tea.
I was going to ask what else that was in.
That's it.
Okay.
2 sources.
Really? Did not know.
And then that they also, I actually had knew about it from my background in over-exercising CrossFit land. And you can find some like performance enhancers that'll help you like lift more and stuff like that. And it's manufactured theobromine.
Really?
And it'll make you hot. Like that's why sometimes if anyone knows about this, you'll flush, you'll get hot, you'll get like this sort of, so if you're taking manufactured theobromine mixed with some of the other stuff they were mixing it in with, which was caffeine, you have a really intense reaction, and then you like want to go work out. So anyway.
And you burn more calories.
You burn more calories, fat loss, all of that. And you can literally feel fat melting. It's not a pleasant feeling.
Look, I've been there. I used to work out in my 20s, and I would take hydroxycut.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
Which is like heart palpitation medicine.
You're like purple. I look so cute though. You're like, girl, I'm about to die.
This is also a fun fact. My best friend and I would go work out pretty kind of obsessively at that time. And we'd take that. And then, on the way home, we'd smoke a joint.
Gotta come down now, baby.
So that was a cocktail.
So high, we gotta, let's do it again tomorrow.
Don't recommend it.
What was your job in that season of your life?
Oh, hospitality. Duh. I mean, this was probably like a tame, drug combination comparatively speaking to people in a hospitality business. But
for sure.
Yeah, no, hydroxycut. And then like you think about like our parents' generation, it was like Dexatrim.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So this is you're picking up what I'm putting down.
I'm with you.
Okay, you're tracking.
I'm tracking.
Water cut pills when there's no reason to water cut.
I wonder what we're going to look back on now and be like, oof.
Thank you, body, for being like whole and functioning.
Renewing yourself so beautifully and healing.
Honestly.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, because we really tested you. Yeah. We really put you through the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So back to heart medicine.
Yes. I like to take detours. You know this.
I do too. I know. That's why I love you.
So, and you never know what kind of detour you're going to get. But so I do appreciate you letting me go there.
You're always entertaining. So theobromine, okay, so it's going to stimulate the cardiovascular, more blood to the brain, more blood to all parts of the body. That's why I often get warm when I work with cacao. I'm very sensitive to theobromine. But I love it because the effect on the brain, of course, when we meditate is obvious. You get more visuals. Yeah. You might actually be able to communicate and hear. You may have access to more senses in that meditative state that you might not have ever had before. I've had a lot of first timers that could not meditate, and definitely couldn't see anything, come out of meditation and be like, what did you do to me? That was awesome. Yeah. I saw my grandmother. She told me to do this, this, and this. And then the wolf came in and like, he's my guide now. And just all this detail and color. And it's all them. It's just their brain is getting the proper stimulation and support so that they can actually see and remember. Because I actually do believe a lot of us see, we just don't remember.
Yeah.
So the theobromine is one of the most beautiful effects. And that's also why we call it a heart opener. Because the heart's working a little bit harder.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the iron, the magnesium, all of that's really good, especially for anemics, if you're anemic.
Yeah.
Or if you're a woman who's bleeding.
That's nice.
That iron is that replenishment. It feels like you're drinking life for us. for me when I feel that way.
I think I've heard you speak to this a little bit in the past, but like any do's and don'ts, like, or recommendations, maybe that's a little
if
too
you're
black and white.
if you're pregnant or if you have heart issues or if you're on heart medication, they don't even say, like in our training even, it was like, we don't recommend no one like not do it at all.
Yeah, so it's not contraindicated per se.
Yes. With the one thing it can be is with antidepressants. So if you're taking an extremely high, and it has to be a really high dosage, then the cacao can have, it's essentially, the cacao is trying to do the same thing the antidepressant's doing. So it can really create stress in the body because the body's like, wait.
Too much
being told
neurosensitivity, oversensitive. Yeah,
and it'll cause a headache. I mean, the symptoms are very mild also.
Sure.
So it's like you might
I'm
have
sure people are going to the grocery store and fast food and getting more toxins that would
I do. I've had a
than
few
anything else.
I've had a few clients that are like, it just always gives me a headache. And I'm like, how much water did you drink today? They're like, there was some in my coffee. I'm like, you're not supposed to have coffee on the same day either.
Okay, coffee.
So I mean, limit it.
Right.
Like, think about what you're doing.
Coffee, so I'm getting a double dose.
You are. You'll be okay.
I will.
You'll be okay.
I appreciate that.
When I first started, I was addicted to coffee.
Sure,
so
it is my thing, my addiction thing.
It was
at this point.
Yeah, it was a big step for me to even just begin my day with cacao, and then I knew I was going to get coffee later. But I would just try to expand the amount of time I could go without coffee.
Yeah.
And then eventually cacao was just like, why are you drinking that?
You didn't need it anymore.
Yeah. And
same way.
That came through in the thought of like, I'd order a coffee out of habit. I'm here doing the thing at that time. Let's order it. And I'd start drinking it and I'd start feeling bad.
Yeah.
And I'd be aware that I was feeling bad instead of how we feel now when we drink it. If you're a big coffee person, it's like, oh, I'm alive again.
Right.
But something shifts.
Yes, and I'm very sensitive to, well, I wouldn't say very sensitive to caffeine, but I'm definitely sensitive in general. And I have played with different seasons of not having it, bringing it back in. And now I typically only have a reasonable amount of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
And then if I do go to it in the afternoon, sometimes that really bites you in the ass, and it just like immediately like makes me feel ill. And I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. Too much. Should have left it alone.
Do you know what's so cool though is we're trying to balance all these things, and I'll get a distinct craving for the taste. I really love the taste of coffee. Mm-hmm. I love how it adds to my chai when I make it dirty. Like, I have a deep love for it. Yeah. There's not a danger for me with it anymore. I literally couldn't even get away with drinking too much of it because I just start to feel so bad.
Right.
But there was a time where people would say that to me when I was deep in the coffee addiction, and I would have been like, sure, you're full of shit. You are. But now I'm
just like an addict. You are not ready to hear it.
I'm like, that's your story, not my story.
Yeah, you were speaking to a couple stories of cacao, and now that you've been preparing it for people, I know you do some personal orders even.
I do. Yeah.
That's maybe what I need, because I feel like when I make it at home, it's just, I mean, I definitely still feel creative.
Yeah.
It gives me, that is a perfect example of how I definitely use cacao in my life, and is to have that afternoon pick me up where it helps me kind of drop into a creative space. Yeah. And I love that feeling, but I swear it's like, doesn't taste as good. It's not as, not as touched as it is when I have it prepared.
It's so sweet. I have clients that are like, okay, I'm going to buy a brick of cacao off of you, and
here you go, make it. Make it for me.
And here's a jar, and when will you deliver it? And I'll pay for everything. And
that's amazing.
I love it.
You're the DoorDash of cacao.
And I'll text them just a brick of cacao, like chocolate, and then the fairy emoji.
That's right.
And they're like, chocolate fairy delivery.
That's it.
Like the tooth fairy.
Yes.
But a little more expensive.
And real.
Don't tell him he's not
Sorry.
real.
Cover your ears.
So funny. Yeah. So, so I love preparing it. It's definitely been a fine art for me. And there's many ways you can get it. I've had clients that went to, well, me myself, I've been to Costa Rica and Guatemala and seen it in different cultures. And it is a very precious cultural treasure. So there are many ancient ways that cacao is prepared using certain tools, certain liquids, certain spices only. And
Okay.
there can be a lot of regimen around it. One thing I loved about working with Keith's cacao is that they said, let it be a unique expression of you. Cacao is flowing through you. Similar to when we think of God or source, God is flowing through me, but I'm Christina, but it's just the light and I'm going to share it in my Christina way.
Yeah.
Where I might cuss a little bit and be a little goofy and all over the place. And if you like it, awesome. But I wouldn't expect you to be the same way. It's the same way when we're sharing cacao. I'm going to honor the medicine in the way that I've been shown, in the way that I feel is respectful. And then it's going to just be colored by me. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun when cacao gets poured in a room. I always notice sometimes people get emotional, but more often than not, people get really comfortable.
Yes. I've seen that too. I've picked up on that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in some of the cacao ceremonies that I've been in, some people are nervous because it's like,
Yeah.
maybe they didn't necessarily, it wasn't their idea to come, or they're
Medicine
just the first,
ceremony.
Yeah, they're thinking, what kind of a trip am I going on?
Only 2 hours. What are we doing?
What's happening?
Yeah.
Is this legal? Like, it's so funny to
Oh my God.
people, I'm sure, ask you some.
I had
How many? I'm like, give me something somebody's asked you that you're like.
This is so funny. I love whoever this man is. Honestly, he gave me the best story ever. I'm so grateful for him. So we're in circle one day and I'm doing my usual, cacao's high in iron and magnesium can help you recover from physical activity, open your heart. It's a psychoactive. And this guy is progressively leaning more and more in. And he's like worried. And I see it, I can feel it. I'm like just continuing on, like pouring cacao, passing cups. And he's like, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. Like, this is really important. And I'm like, okay, man, what's up? And he's like, I've got a drug test on Friday.
I think I was there.
Yeah.
I think I was there.
I got a drug test on Friday and I really need to pass it. He's like, am I good? He's like holding the cup like, are we good?
Yeah.
I was like, bro, you're good.
Fair question.
You can operate heavy machinery now.
If you want.
Right now. So precious. But like, how could he know? He didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here talking psychoactive. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. He's like, what am I getting into?
Yeah. Were you at that
I
one?
was. I think he was sitting right next to me.
Funny was he?
I loved it. I mean, honestly,
Precious.
honest question.
It was an honest question. So yes, you will pass a drug test. There's no reason to fail it. It's literally pure chocolate.
Pure chocolate.
And I like to make mine with oat milk, cinnamon, sea salt, honey.
That little sea salt does it.
Yeah. And then I've been doing a little vanilla in there too, just a touch of vanilla. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Very luxurious. I love it.
Is very
It's so
creamy.
good.
Yeah. So it's such a beautiful medicine, and I love also bringing it into my one-to-one sessions too now.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing a human design reading, which we've been talking a lot about, if people have heard those episodes, they're very heady. It's heady information. I mean, it's solution-oriented, right? We're running these really complex charts. It's like looking at a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you're like, oh, and this is this, and this is this, and you good? And you're like, wait, what? So the cacao, I begin a session with cacao, and then we move into human design or astrology, and the cacao just grounds you, but then your brain's present and open, so you're grounded and open, and it's so good for learning. I think it would be amazing for children.
Yeah.
In the morning.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of incorporating it into a morning ritual where you are grounding, setting intention. It just feels so natural.
Yeah.
And I know some people like it at night too, to kind of close out the day as a nice little bookend.
Yeah. Our dear friend Stacy loves it like that.
Nice
It's
little
just, Yeah. She's
sweetness at the end of the day.
Yeah, like a little warm bed to fall into, you know? And I think
Right.
she processes a lot too in that way. And I love that ritual. She's inspired me a lot with using it as a wind down too.
And I know you've also branched into actually trainings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
empowering others to be practitioners. Is that
Yeah.
the right word?
Yeah. Guides, practitioners. It's something that I love. What I love about when you're in your purpose, I think people will come to you and ask you for more. So this was something people were like begging me for. And I finally did my first training this year. Yeah, around my birthday in May. And to see the graduates and to see what they're doing now in the community and in the world is like, my heart is like bursting. I feel like a mama, like watching.
Yes.
But also I know it's not me either. It was just what we alchemized, and then they're going forth and they're empowered, and the medicine shows up in them in a unique way that I never would have thought of. And I'm proud, but I'm also just in awe, I think is a better expression. So I'm doing another training January 2025, and it's the last weekend. So it's January 25th and 26th, and we're going to do it at a private location here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So if you need to get here, get here.
Yes.
And it'll be a really intimate group because of the private location's limitations.
Okay.
It's my house, so that's fine.
AKA
my casa.
priestess. Yeah. The nest.
The nest. Yeah.
I love that. So, and I do appreciate that the people that come to your trainings are sometimes, I mean, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but they're incorporating it into a professional, something they're doing in their lives, or they're doing it just to have it as a personal practice.
Yes, I've had a few.
Either or.
Yeah, that's right. A few people are just like, this is a part of my journey. Similar to me. I mean, I spent that whole year genuinely never planning on sharing it. It was mine.
Yeah.
It was helping me. So I really honor people wherever they're at. If you need to do a training just to use it for you. I think there's a narrative of like, I'm not going to do this training unless I make it a business.
Right.
Do the fucking training.
Yeah.
It's going to lead you to the next thing. So I love when people do it and they're like, I haven't done anything yet with it. I'm like, what do you mean? Yes, you have.
Yeah.
It's in you now. And especially with cacao, when I have cacao for the day, even if I'm not taking any clients that day or teaching a circle that day, every person I interact with is getting cacao. Because Christina, fueled by cacao, is way more open-hearted, way more present. So in a way, all of our training is always helping us be who we're meant to be.
True. And I will say, from watching and observing your trainings and the way that you present information and the touches, and it's a very luxe experience.
You were a part of the last one.
I was. I know. And I
were
was
a treat.
all the details.
You were all the details, but they were so hungry for it.
Oh, my part?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah, we talked about the trifecta and I ran all the charts. I got to look at everybody's information.
So we did a 2-day training. We're going to do that again in January. I don't know. We might have to have you again. We haven't discussed.
Yeah.
But we had Renee as like a surprise guest speaker. I didn't tell anyone that. I knew everyone that was coming would love you, and I knew they'd be receptive to what you had to say.
It was fun.
It was you're like, wait, I'm a surprise? When do I pop out? So cute.
It was really fun.
And then you taught on destiny.
Yeah, on soul purpose through the aspects of your astrology chart, your North Node, your North Node house placement, and then also the midheaven in your
Love
chart.
those spots.
Yeah, because they're not talked about as often.
Not as
and
much
when
as
you
they
put them
should.
all together, it paints a really interesting perspective that has definitely helped me to understand myself, even beyond your big three and everything like that. I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
I think I lost an earring.
Where'd you get that earring?
It just fell out.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Bug.
Oh, but you still have an earring in.
I have lots.
Okay.
No one's gonna
Multiple earrings. Okay, that's what's going on. I'm like, wait a minute, you still have an earring. Where did I get that one?
This tree is shedding on me.
That's like when you walk out of the house and you've got like static cling underwear like on your
Oh my
jacket or
God.
something. You're good.
Do you know what's so funny is these moments. I film Phoenix Diaries every single day. Every single day.
Bless your consistency. Bless it.
Fuck my life, honestly. Because I'm so ambitious. So, and then once I say I'm gonna do it,
And you're
like,
freaking, yeah, you're tenacious in the.
I am tenacious. That's
You're
an
like,
excellent word.
you're like, I'm not giving this up.
Yeah, it's like me against me.
Yeah.
But no, I mostly enjoy it. But the reason I say that is I'm filming every day. And
Yeah.
the amount of shit that goes wrong on a daily, I'm losing things. Things are and I've gotten so good at laughing about it. So.
Well, if you ever have pets or kids, you'll be prepared for everything going.
Just a cat flying.
Yeah. Knocking your computer over, all of that goodness.
Oh my God.
Well, I
Yeah.
want to know about your travels because I haven't even talked to you since you went across the pond.
Oh,
Can you please give us a little
I mean, to be
behind
fair,
the scenes of what this experience
I mean,
was like?
this was a really cool one because as I mentioned in the last episode, last time I was in London was 5 years ago. And not only was I there for another training, but I was there to meet my now ex-husband. And so going to London last week was really important for me to recreate the experience because I love the place so much.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be a nourishing, beautiful trip. And I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I mean, I got to link up with absolute soul sisters. As I mentioned, I got to teach in another country. That's always a dream of mine. We got to share cacao. We got to be in circle. I also went down to the south of the UK, which is very similar to Wilmington. It's like seaside. It's so beautiful. There's these beautiful, I was obsessed with the shells.
Yeah. I was swooning along at your stories.
Oh my goodness. It just stunning. So, and then I got to see a soul sister who I've known for many years that's lived there. And I've seen her go through so many evolutions of growth, and she's held me, and we've been long distance best friends, and to be together and to just feel all that alchemy.
So fun.
It's so fun.
It's like, well, and you left on the first day of Sagittarius season.
Yeah. So
you're
it was
Sagittarius, all your
Midhaven, North
Node,
Node,
it was
yeah.
all like tingling.
It
and
was.
You were just like
on
this is
alignment.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely. It felt in alignment from here, and I'm.
Yeah. It was. I think we developed a location for a human design training next summer. Yeah, in the UK. So more details on that soon.
Gosh.
But yeah, there's a few people that want to take human design to some big places there. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
awesome.
like business conferences and how human design can be a
Yes.
huge asset in the corporate world.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which duh.
Duh is right.
The
I've
be-
always been fascinated by that.
Yeah, it increases ROI. Like
That's what
money's-
I told my husband when he was managing a team at his last company. I was like, how weird would it be for us to get to ask them their birth information?
Yeah.
What do you think? And he was open to it. He works in tech. They're into stuff. They're down.
I think they're down to
They're down.
They're like, what's the switch about?
Yeah. What do we got? What's going on? What's the practicality?
Yeah.
What's the productivity and ROI, and once you understand that.
Yes.
But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so into that.
My friend's partner was like this. He works with a lot of investors that work in real estate and development. And he's like, this will knock their socks off. And he's like, I really want to be trained in it so it can come through me. Again, the vessel.
Yeah.
Because he knows their language. He knows their building world. He knows their money
Sure,
world,
yes.
Whereas me, my business is literally the blonde priestess. People think it's princess. They're like, who's this chick up there? Like, of course her life is great. She drinks chocolate and talks about the stars. Give us a man's man.
A dream come true. I loved your post about that the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, I so relate to that. As someone who literally, my daughter was like, Mom, you literally color all day. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm kind of like a big version of what I was as a kid.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do some Pilates.
I'm like, I like color and, like art supplies, stuff like that. Yeah.
You did-
Socialize a little here and there.
Renee texted me and was like, what are you up to today? I've just been creating and, coloring.
Coloring.
I was like, yes.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Magenta, hardcore magenta lover here. It just makes me happy.
A true girl's girl.
I mean, I tried to avoid that for a long time, but I am actually a true.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that post is the core of it, I think, would actually relate to the masculine too, of that go back to what you loved as a child.
Yeah.
Like, what did you love to do? And there's clues there, especially if you're frustrated, bitter, burnt out, like, do this work.
Yeah.
And drink some chocolate while you're doing it because it'll be supportive and it'll help you remember.
Yes.
And you can go back and like, I love to dress up. I love to dress up, and I love to be like, I love to put on a little show. Like I wanted to inspire people, and then my cousins would see how I put something together, and then they'd go go do it. And I was like, wow, look, now we're kind of like both in the same tribe.
So fun.
And so yeah, and then chocolate. My mom has so many stories where she's like, you were like a menace
To getting your hands on chocolate.
Oh, like we'd have family photos, and I'm like, bag of M&Ms.
That's awesome.
And she's like, you have to put that down. I'm like, not even for the photo.
Don't you wish you had a picture of that? Like maybe you should do a little Christina. Your mom probably has a photo.
My mom has the memory, and I can paint the picture.
Yeah.
She was like, I was so upset with you. And she's like, all the men in the family were like, let her have her fucking chocolate. It's just a picture. And my mom's like, this is the point of it though. You know, it's just so funny.
It made a lasting memory.
Yeah. And
sure.
My willpower is definitely from her. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yes. And we went away for Thanksgiving too. So we were both out of town at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah. We went to the mountains. We went to Boone this year. We went there last year as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. My heart really is with Western North Carolina right now. And, we've been to Asheville several times. And so, we went to Boone again. We stayed. I didn't quite realize we were going to be so close to the last location. It was only like 10, 15 minutes away. I'm like, oh, this looks familiar. I'm like, this is the very road we stayed on last time.
Oh.
I can report that this time the house was not full of paranormal activity, though, because last year it was. Yes,
so you actually have a
was
holiday.
Haunted. Yeah, it made a lasting impression last time. It was a farmhouse, an old farmhouse that had been renovated. I mean, it was very lovely on the inside, nicely appointed. But yeah, there was enough going on that my dog never settled. Yes, it was definitely after I picked up on it, a couple days in, and I'm like,
What's
okay.
going on?
Yeah.
Would you hear things shutting, moving,
knocking? Knocking. And so get this.
Ooh,
So
I have chills.
Yeah. So it got a little creepy.
Like
clear as day, someone knocking. And so I'll take you on a little little story.
We
time
need a
here.
flashlight.
We do. Yes.
Shine your phone.
I know. This is like seriously. I mean, look.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
I have a follow-up question for you, because I feel like I have been sensitive as a child and things like that. But this was like one of the most distinct experiences I've ever had. And I wasn't the only one to have it. The house was interesting because it was the really cozy living room area was on one side of the house, and then there was a game room on the other side where my there was like a TV and a game room, and my kids and husband were in there a lot, like hanging out and stuff. And I was on the cozy side a lot, and there was this huge pane glass window that went out to the deck. And I was laying there on the couch one night, and I heard clear as day knocking, and I was like, you sit up, you look around, you're like, what's going on?
Hello?
And it sounded like it was coming from the wall where the pane glass window was, which obviously you don't want to look outside in the dark, because it's like they can see in, you can't see out. And you're thinking, is there a human outside on the deck watching me right now?
And you don't want to let them know you know.
Yeah. So it was literally like, all your spidey senses are going up, and you're like, okay, I'm going to breathe.
Happening?
And then I'm going to run into the other room and be like, you guys. So I go running in the other room to the game room. And I'm like, Chris, and the kids are there. And I'm like, I just heard knocking and there's no one over there. And my kids go, we had someone knock on our bedroom door last night. And
Oh my God, I have chills.
And I was like, oh my God. And my dog was just so unsettled. And there
What's
was
your husband do? He's like, hold on.
Well, first of all, he's, Chris, he starts praying. And I'm like, hold on. I'm like, let's just
Okay, I did not.
he's like
first
casting
off,
demons out.
I did not know Chris would have that initial reaction.
Oh yeah, my husband was
Did he bring out his holy water? He's like, babe.
We almost
say
got to
less.
holy water. Yeah, it was a little jarring. At first he was like, don't give it any attention. I'm like, I agree. I'm like, look, I'm in charge here. Like,
Totally.
Yeah, like, okay, calm down with the knocking. I literally was like, calm down.
Yeah, you can talk to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said what I wanted and made it clear. But the weirdness continued. We actually even had a couple other strange instances where one thing in particular that really stood out is my husband and I were in the kitchen doing dishes after Thanksgiving, getting everything put away, and the dishwasher was running.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, the floor's wet. We were doing dishes, not weird, but then it got wetter. And I'm like, what's going on? Is this dishwasher leaking? I'm like, okay, crap, what's going on? There was a jug of water underneath the sink that was there that had all of a sudden pinholes in it, and water was leaking out all over the floor.
Dude, do you see me right now?
I know.
Oh my God.
Listen.
Renee, this is for real.
The combination of these things
I
started
think
to
I need
build.
to get my sage now.
I know. So by the end of the week,
Gosh.
the last night, I was very unsettled. I literally was like, I feel it.
The water I
We've
back
heard
up.
it. There's been multiple instances. There wasn't just that one time of my knocking and my kids having the knocking on the door.
Wow.
It was like the dog was barking at nothing. It was getting
God.
weird.
Oh.
So I was like, almost like, can we go? I started to get to that point where I'm like, I just want my house. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I just want to go. So,
And
and
that's
then
what they
that,
wanted.
yeah. And it was a little odd. And, bless these people who own this Airbnb because they were very attentive,
They
owners.
probably knew.
Well, they were very inquisitive about how's your stay, what's going on, has everything been okay? And so I actually did
Good for
write
you.
them and say
Good.
in a hey, just so you know, I don't know if anyone else has experienced this,
Yeah.
but you might have a little friendly Casper hanging around. But you know what was kind of creepy about this house? You all are gonna freak out.
Someone died.
The bottom. No, I don't know
Okay.
that. Could be. But Christina's like,
I'm
there's
like,
a dead
"There's a
body.
dead-"
No.
I'm like, clearly someone was murdered. This is like.
Okay, so you know Airbnbs, sometimes there's a part of the house you can't get to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Owner's closet.
Owner's closet. Well, this had if you looked at the outside of this farmhouse,
Yeah.
the entire basement was very large. It was up on stilts and there was a large basement. And in fact, the door to the basement was off the room where the pane glass window was, where the knocking was, and my kid's room was on the other side of that. So then I started getting in my head,
Someone's there.
someone's in the freaking basement.
Dude! No wonder they were asking. They're like, hey, has the neighbor been nice?
So anyway,
Wow.
that was last year, and this year we did not have anything paranormal.
It's almost boring now.
I know, right? You're like, I don't have any good stories this time. Except just,
No,
I mean,
peace is always preferred.
peace is always preferred. It was
However, that
eventful.
was
It was
entertaining.
eventful for sure, but it definitely made me think about when we book Airbnbs in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know,
What's your ghost
what am
rating?
I gonna do? Ask the question, but it's like,
To your knowledge,
has there
did
been
someone
any
die
paranormal?
here?
Yeah, has there been any paranormal activity
I need
reported?
to know about murders. I'm like, let's
I
get
know.
to the dead
Well, I mean, that
body.
part of Boone was very much, a Native American occupied land, and Native American spirits, they typically can get, active.
It's a delicate deal
Yeah.
because you're in a ghost perspective. You're on their turf,
Right.
and they might not have been communicated to. You're no longer allowed here
Right.
while other people are here.
The owners did not reply. They didn't. They ignored it. And I thought that was interesting because they had been so responsive and so on top of things. And I'm thinking they probably don't want me writing a review or anything like that.
Public
saying
one.
like,
It's
yeah,
haunted.
like
That's a tough fix. Like it'd probably be better to have bugs than, and you can reply publicly.
Bugs.
We
I'm
sprayed.
like, bugs.
We sprayed.
Yeah.
Bugs. I've
Problem
got bugs
solved.
on my mind. I thought I had a spider on me earlier. Like, whoa, get it, Renee.
That earring spider
Earring
was coming
spider
from you.
was just like trickling down.
But anyway, I was just like, okay. But this time, I mean, the only thing that happened this time is my overactive sense of smell was on. When I go to new places and
sniff it
stay
out.
in new environments, in new homes, I immediately get so much information from the way it smells.
This is so cool because in human design, we have a spidey sense and yours is smell.
It is.
But you knew that before you knew that in human design. Like you've always been a smeller.
But it is now more than ever heightened. And like
You're off those hydroxy cuts.
No,
You're
yeah,
clean.
I mean,
Your system's
seriously.
clean, girl.
My system is like,
All
the
systems
cacao
a
is
go.
like heightening my sense of smell. My family is like, you have like a vampire sense of smell. I'm like, I really do.
My mom is good too. She's
really
taste
do.
though. So I find taste people and smell people in human design. Like, yeah, if there's something off, they will notify you.
Yeah, and this house had a bit of a smell that I still have lingering. Like I have washed everything. I have like, it's like kind of a damp smell. And
Yeah.
so like a few days of being in an environment with a damp smell, it like could be mold. I won't
For
even
sure.
go there.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like it was the case. I didn't see any mold. But at the same time, my spidey senses. So I was very, very glad to be home where everything is
God.
nice and controlled and my own
Smells.
my own scent.
Yeah.
I knew you'd appreciate that because you're like,
Oh man.
I mean, my sniffer,
It's awesome.
Yeah, but sometimes it's a little overactive and
You need
it
to
can
calm
be
down.
overstimulating.
Yeah.
Like if I'm
like you need to relax.
traveling,
Like Snoopy,
smells
take a
can
break.
overwhelm me. Like,
You're like one of those dogs in the airport. I watch them and sometimes I'm like, dude, I don't have anything on me, but I feel
think
like
I might.
yes.
But they might think I.
They might think I might, and then I'll think I might, and then he's gonna definitely think I might, and then you know what I mean? I don't want this to escalate.
No.
I'm in a cute coat, I got boots on, I gotta get to where I'm going. I don't have time to be strip searched right now.
And I don't have time to teach them about why I have cacao in my bag.
Yeah. Why I have 7 1-pound bricks. Undisclosed brown material.
Seriously. I'm surprised they haven't cut that open before. That looks like a
Yeah. This in this form looks very like, this is very
Suspect.
packageable.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is something I'd find in a store. But when this puppy's open, it's just, the weight of it.
Right.
And when it's open, it's just clear wrapped in this little bag, and it's brown and spotted and crazy looking.
But
anyway,
it's delicious. It's lovely.
do you know one thing that I really want to do? So I'm going to Guatemala again next year.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know when?
Yes, end of February.
Okay.
Keith does this amazing retreat for the practitioners, and we go to the land. I went this year, as you know, and we go to the land and we get to interact with the medicine in that way. Where it grows, the people that work with it, the people that are blessing it, the people that are roasting and toasting and picking it, and it's remarkable. But this time my goal is beyond learning and being immersed in that experience is to bring back a pod, like an actual pod of cacao.
And not have it confiscated.
How
does one do that?
No frutas.
Can you put it in your bra? Can you get two of them?
Definitely no. Yeah. We're going to need to search you. Well, I don't see the reason why. He's freaking. They're like oblong giant mangoes.
The audacity of someone to challenge your oblong.
This episode's taking a turn. Anywho, I don't think I'm going to go for the bra. I think I'm going to go for the suitcase.
Okay.
Yeah,
Option B.
less obvious option. I know. No, I'm aware of that, but we're going to go for it. I think I'm going to like stuff a boot. Actually, I'm not going to tell y'all what I'm going to do.
Don't put it out there.
I'm not telling nobody nothing. I don't even want them.
If I come home with a pod.
No, Renee, I don't even want it, actually.
That's right. You don't. Don't call any attention to this. But there will be signs because there'll be one on the table the next time you come back.
If you know how to preserve a fruit,
we'll have a new centerpiece.
God, I hope so.
Well, I love that. Is that your next trip or you got one in January?
I'm going in, I think that'll be my next trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lock it down here in December, January, do a training, and then go to Guatemala. Guatemala is so special. Oh, it has such a special place in my heart. And like beyond the cacao, the place where the cacao grows, San Marcos and surrounding areas, it's so stunning. Such a magical place. Like, highly recommend people go just to experience the nature, the culture, the food, the beauty. It's just, it's one of those places where like I could bring myself to tears thinking about it. You know, like I hope everyone has a place like that in their mind, but Guatemala is definitely one of them. London's one of them for me. Yeah. But Guatemala is more for the nature. London's more my people there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that. Well, today was a fun ride. I think the cacao helped.
I do too. I think we should incorporate it more.
I mean, I'm down. When you said you were going to bring cacao, I'm like, say less. I'm in.
She actually did. She was like, do you wanna? And I'm like, what about cacao? Yep. Let's do that.
Yeah, that was a treat. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Bringing,
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Bringing the awareness of cacao to everyone.
Yeah.
And I had a really good time today sharing stories, and
Me too.
I'm looking forward to, I mean, I think next time we will almost maybe even be into 2025. So maybe we should talk about some forecasting or what's to come.
I think that would be awesome. Yeah, especially because for me, the new year really begins Aries season.
Yeah.
Mid-March. So I think,
Yes.
like drink your cacao, hunker down.
Ease in.
You're hibernating.
Listen, all these retrograde energies, especially the way they're hitting my chart, I'm going to need it. I'm going to need I'm going to need to take a beat. I'm telling you.
You're going to have to.
We'll talk about that next time. But I appreciate everyone who joined us and listening and laughing with us.
Yes. Yes, so fun.
It's a good time.
Yeah, and if you are interested in cacao, anything about cacao, if you need, feel free to reach out, DM me, connect with me. I'll help get you in the right direction. And there's also online trainings if you can't do it in person training with me. But
yes, I love that. Till next time.
You.
Bye, everyone.